He can enthral you with his mind-reading tricks. You can call him a magician or a psychological illusionist. His unparalleled skills have left various celebrities amazed, such as Shah Rukh Khan, Vidya Balan, Hrithik Roshan, Virat Kohli, and many more. He has about 2.4 lakh likes on his Facebook page. gnoTalks 2018 warm-heartedly welcomes one of the best mentalists in India, Karan Singh Magic. Welcome, sir.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction. Sounds like my mother wrote it.
So, you have mentioned that in the initial days of performing magic, you used to perform at a hotel near your house for almost a year. Was there ever a sense of doubt whether it wouldn't span out like it has?
I think when I started, there was my mom to praise me in front of people, says that I got up and made a career and made a, what do you call them? Like people become doctors, people become lawyers. I made a place where people can perform magic. So when I started, yes, there was a lot of doubt because all I was doing initially was birthday parties. So I was 16 years old and for 2 years, a hotel behind my house used to have Disney themed birthday parties for 1-year-olds. So for 2 years, not 1 year, for 2 years I performed there. There was a lot of self-doubt because I thought that, is this all my life that's going to be? I didn't really know because there was nobody else doing it. I didn't know where it was going to lead. But slowly, I realized that from those birthday parties, I started getting corporate shows because I started performing for the parents of the kids whose birthday was. They started inviting me for the companies for their shows. From there, I started getting shows in colleges. And then a friend of mine booked out a theatre in Delhi. I shat my pants when he told me that I had to sell 500 tickets. So I did that. It sold out. And this was 2012. So I think it's grown. I didn't know myself where it's going to go. So the self-doubt was also slightly strange because I didn't know what I was doubtful about because there was no set path that I had because there was nobody else in India doing it. So the self-doubt only came from am I always going to be performing for 1-year-olds because that's all that magic was. But yeah, I've been thankful enough that that's not how it's panned out.
Every artist has his or her low points. How did you manage to get past yours? What kept you motivated the entire time?
I think the low points are the most important because that's when you truly realize that your passion, whatever you're doing, the art that you're in, is that something you want to do for the rest of your life? Because if at that low point you come out of it and you're still doing what you love, then there's absolutely no doubt. It's like any relationship. Like if I have a fight with my girlfriend or anybody has a fight with their partner, you don't give up on it. You sort it out. You make it work. So any art form that you do is like a relationship on its own. You have to care for it. You have to love for it. And the kind of art form that I'm in, especially being in India, there is a downtime every single year. Like June, July, August. The moment it starts raining in Mumbai, the entire entertainment industry in India is shut. So there are no shows for 3 months. So every year for 3 months, I start thinking, am I done? Are there going to be no other shows that are ever going to turn up now? But I spend that time creating a new show. So the show that you saw right now, there are bits and pieces of a new show which I'm going to do for the public in December. So you were one of the first audiences who got to see it. So I was, that's what I do in the low time. And if I can come out of it, I realize that I love it. But that happens every year.
So family is considered to be a pillar of support. So how important would you say that your family's initial support has been into shaping who you are today? Were they reluctant at first?
Of course they were reluctant. Why? Any parent would be reluctant, not because they don't want me to do what I love, but because they would be scared. Like I said over there as well, that parents don't want their kid to be poor. And they thought doing magic is not a viable profession. It's not like they didn't want me to do what I love, they just cared enough for me. So the reluctance was there, but the support was also there. Like initially, my first audience was my dada and my nani. So those are the two people I performed for the most. My nani used to stay with me in the summer holidays because my parents were working, my brother had got a job, so I was alone at home. And it was at that age jab logon ko lagta hai ki bachcha bigad jayega. So my nani used to stay at home to take care of me or look over me. So I used to do tricks for her with a deck of cards. So every evening when my mom used to come home, my nani used to say in Punjabi, "Innu keh na khela kere, tash bada aim hunda hai, sada sara din jua khelda rehda hai." So that's what she said because cards are associated with gambling. But I think mom told Nani that it's okay, let him do it. If nothing else, his presentation skills will improve because he'll speak to people and he'll present something to them. So my mom and dad were really supportive with that. I cracked a deal with my dad. In my 10th pre-boards, I got 27.1%. And my dad said that if you get 80% in your boards, I'll take you anywhere in the world. And I studied for those 2 months and I got 80.3%. And the reason I studied was because I saw a lecture happening later that year in the US by a man who created tricks for David Blaine. That's the only reason I studied. But my father was true to his word. He was supportive. He took me there. He took me for that lecture, which completely changed my life because I met other people like me. There was nobody in India doing it, but there were people in the western parts of the world doing magic. So they were really supportive that way. And as the years went on, the support changed. My mother kept saying, keep trying new things every year. So I write a new show every year just to satisfy. Initially, it was just to satisfy mom. But now I feel that I need to do it myself. And like I said, my dad's happy as long as I'm earning money. So that happens thanks to you people.
In 2012, despite failing initially, you bounced back with the trick and left Darren Brown spellbound. We would love to hear about your experience directly from you, sir.
It is, right now you said and I already have goosebumps. Darren Brown is, he's loved for me. I think I mentioned David Blaine because he's more heard of, but once I moved on from David Blaine, it was Darren Brown. For me, when I saw him, my perception of everything that I ever knew in my life changed. So I knew I had to go for that show. So I'll tell you the entire thing. The show was in 17th of February 2012. That was the date of the show. And August 2011, which is 6 months before the show, is when I booked tickets for it to go to London and see him perform. And for 6 months, every single day, like the craziest, creepiest, cheesiest stalker on the planet, I tweeted to him every day that I'm coming from India, please meet me. I'm coming from India, please meet me. I'm coming from India, please meet me. He never replied. Then on the day of the show, I tried the last time, I'm coming in the evening, please meet me. And his manager replied, the guy called Coops. He said, we read that you're coming from India and you've been tweeting incessantly. So Darren would love to meet you. Please wait outside the stage door after the show. And initially I thought some guy's just playing a prank on me. But then I waited outside the stage door. Darren Brown came. And initially I was just awestruck. I had no idea what to say, what to do. He walked out in my first... I became a 3-year-old girl in a Barbie shop. I looked in and I'm like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. That's all I did for like half an hour. And then he said, oh, what do you do? And I told him that I'm trying to be a professional magician. He said, oh, would you like to show me something? And I was like, okay, then I wasn't prepared for that. Then I showed him a trick, a version of which I'd seen him do. That was the trick that I did on him. A version of that was the first ever trick I saw Darren Brown do for Stephen Fry. And I did that trick on him. I created the method myself. And it failed. And it's on video that I'm looking at Darren Brown and the trick fails. And he looks at me and he says, do you want to try again? For me, that was the moment that I realized the greatness of the man. Because he could have easily saw the trick fail. He could have moved on. He could have gone away and done something else. But he was nice enough, pleasant enough to give a chance to a young kid who was his stalker to say, would you want to try again? And I did, and I nailed it this time. To which he said, I have no idea how you did that. And when he said that, it felt like the ground then opened up and swallowed me because I just felt that nothing will surpass this moment in my life. And that's what gave me confidence to be able to book out that theatre that I spoke about. That was my first public show. And I'm sure he was lying when he said that I have no idea how you did that. He's Darren Brown. Of course he knew how he did that, but he was nice enough to tell a little kid that I have no idea how you did that. And that completely changed my life. And I thought that nothing ever will exceed that. And so far, nothing else.
Do you think that failing at a trick is also as important as successfully performing it?
Absolutely, especially with the kind of field that I'm in. If I get a sense, like this is a show like I did right now, I would be willing to fail. There will be times I will purposely fail. I have done shows where I've purposely gone wrong. Like the first trick that I do where somebody thinks of a word and I reveal it. I went wrong a bunch of times. And the reason I will go wrong, let's say today I think the word was mountainside. There have been times when I figured out it's mountainside, but I wrote down newspaper, for example, and the audience then boos. But then, when they see the rest of the show and everything else goes right, even the most skeptic of person goes on thinking, yeah, if it was a trick, why did it go wrong then? That it has to be real then. There's no other explanation for it. Otherwise, why would he go wrong in front of so many people? So there are times when I will go wrong on purpose. There are times when things don't go as per plan. But like I said, again, the first line of my show, if anyone tries to dissect it, they will understand how every single thing is done. That is, which again, I will repeat it, which says, I mix modern magic with traditional psychology. And when you fuse the two, you can give the illusion that you read minds. So it's modern magic with traditional psychology. So when the psychology starts to fail, because it's not an exact science, I'm on stage and I know when the psychology is about to fail. So I always have a trick to fall back onto. And the audience never figures out that I'm going wrong. Because there's always, for one trick, let's like right now you saw a half an hour, 40-minute show. In my head, that's a 2.5-hour show. Because there's a backup for every minute. That if this thing fails, I'll go to this. If this thing fails, I'll go to this. Several things failed in the show right now as well. But nobody noticed. That will happen inevitably because psychology is not an exact science. So I will always have a backup. But I learned the hard way.
So being a showman definitely brings a lot of attention. So do you recall any crazy or funny fan interaction that you've had before or after your performance?
There's one happening right now. There is this boy who lives in Allahabad. I posted, I think a month ago when you sent me that poster that please post this, I posted that. And he's messaged me like I message Devin Brown every single day saying, please meet me, I'm in Allahabad, please meet. He's not even from this college. He's kept messaging me, please meet me, please meet me. And I saw his messages and I told him that, okay, come. He's, I think, outside somewhere. So I will go meet him. But it's happened a bunch of times. I love the attention. I've always been attention-seeking brat. I love getting attention. I want to be the center of attention and I'm quite honest about it. But yeah, there have been several instances. There are at airports, inevitably I meet people who want to talk to me, who want me to do a trick on them. There's one time this guy came up to me, he said, sir, I'm a big fan. I was just about to board a flight. He's like, can you please figure out my password? And I was about to miss my flight. I just looked at him and I said, 1, 2, 3, 4. And he freaked out because his password was actually 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a complete guess on my part. But his reaction was, I think, the best. He hugged me, he said, thank you so much. He clicked a bunch of pictures. And I love it when things like that happen. And it's just beautiful.
So you mentioned that you love attention, that you like to be the center of attraction. So there must have been many females who would have hit on you, sir. So any interesting incident you would like to share?
Have you seen the way I look? I look like a ghost. Nobody hits on me. I think even if people hit on me, I don't figure out. My girlfriend keeps telling me that she's noticed times when people are hitting on me, men and women, but I've never noticed. I think I'm very aloof to those things because as a child, like I said, that girl that I spoke about, Priyanka Das, Anant and Priyanka started dating. So that was a sad moment in my life. And initially, I don't think you get female attention. And if a lot of people do message me saying that, oh, I want to learn magic because I want to impress a girl. I think that's the worst way to go about it. I've never done magic to get female attention per se. I've just done magic to get attention. Not from females, males, doesn't matter. It's just about people enjoying themselves and enjoying the fact that I'm doing a trick for them. It's never been about I want to get laid doing a trick. It's never been about that. If I am getting attention and there are women or men who are liking me because of that, so be it. It's not their fault.
The world has seen Karan Singh Magic outwit others. So, sir, what's the difference between Karan Singh and Karan Singh Magic? Is it a character you play, or are both one of the same?
I think they're sort of blurred over time. Karan Singh is a very boring, underconfident boy who sits at home every night, unable to get sleep, and starts thinking that, oh, whoever I met today, were they happy to meet me? The show that I did right now, I'll go home and I think, was everybody genuinely applauding? Do they actually like me? And there'll be times when I'll just think, no, it's all fake. All the standing ovations. I think one day somebody will jump out of a corner and say, haha, nobody actually likes you. It's just a long practical joke that life has played on you. So Karan Singh is very underconfident. Karan Singh Magic is the most confident bastard you'll ever meet in your life. He's somebody who's cocky. He's somebody who's arrogant. He's somebody who's quite confident. He's the one who loves the attention. And he is the one who can capture an audience. But I think over time that line is sort of blurred because of the kind of profession that I'm in. There is, with social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and everything, you are putting your life out for the world to see. So that line between Karan Singh and Karan Singh Magic does get blurred at times. But yeah, there are times when I'm at home and my mom and dad would say, motor nahi band kari tune, light on chhod gaya ghar ki, dog ko walk nahi karaya, khana garam nahi kara, plate bahar chhod di khana karke. So that is still Karan Singh. At home I am Karan Singh. My girlfriend will fight with me and say, okay, the show is over now, you don't have to be Karan Singh Magic, you can start being Karan Singh. I've actually had these conversations, but I think somewhere the line is getting blurred, but I think it's for the good.
So we have seen various artists go on shows like America's Got Talent, Asia's Got Talent, Penn and Teller and many more to showcase their skills and talent. So sir, would you at some point follow such an endeavor to take magic and illusion in India to a global scale?
Through television, if you're meaning through the things that you mentioned from the Got Talent shows and Penn and Teller Fool Us, I've actually been invited for Fool Us 3 years running. I met Penn and Teller a bunch of times. I showed them a few tricks. I showed them a trick which Teller was fooled by. Penn wasn't. Penn was fooled by, Teller wasn't. But I want to stay away from television unless I get my own production, because I think I can then take care of things. The Got Talent shows, I definitely don't want to do. I've been invited on India's Got Talent and say, oh, please come, we'll make you win and all of that. I don't want to do that. I want to stay away from television because I think automatically with the kind of art form that I am in right now, it's very easy for people to think that it's scripted. It's very easy for people to think, oh, he just asked him to think of that and he revealed it. There's no psychology or magic behind it. So I want to stay away from television. Maybe Netflix, if you're listening. Netflix, come. That's all I want to do. Maybe, that's also I'm not 100% sure. But only if I get to sit on the edit, sit on the production and micromanaging like that. Because, yeah, I think television will slightly ruin the art.
Sir, what all music instruments have you ever played in your life? Is there anything that you have or would like to play for a crowd?
You've done your research. I started with music before magic actually. I started with music when I was 3 because my parents put me into a keyboard learning class for the times when guests come and they have to showcase their kids' talent. So people would come home and like, Puttar inko kuch baja ke suna de. So it was keyboard initially. Then it was the flute. I like the flute more. I think I'm best at the flute out of the instruments that I play. I'm not great at it, but out of the ones that I play keyboard, flute, I play harmonium, play a little bit of tabla, play a little bit of guitar, play a little bit of violin, a little bit of clarinet. So a little bit of all. But I don't think I want to play for people because of the kind of art form that I am in, which is a very public art form. I want to keep something for myself, and I'll keep the music for myself. I've made a few tunes, I've tried to copy a bunch of tunes, but that's just for me. I don't think I'll play for people. Maybe I'll do a trick one day which involves the flute. That's a nice idea. Maybe I'll do a trick one day where somebody thinks of a song and I start playing it on the flute. Maybe I'll do that, but not just a music show. Never.
So other than having knowledge of magic, what skills or traits do you think should a performing artist possess?
Magic is the last one. Magic is the least important skill a performing magician should possess. I try to read as much as I can to stay relevant, from pop culture to TV shows. I've done a show where the entire show was based on Game of Thrones because I know that people are interested in that. I've done an entire show based on Sherlock because I know people are interested in that at a particular time. So using those things, which I know people are interested in, that is far more important. So read as much as you can. And if you're doing any art form, learn another art form as well, maybe even bits and pieces, because that's going to help you far more than your own art form. Beyond the point, the art form that you're dedicating your life to, I don't think learning never stops, yes, but I don't think you can grow just within that art form. For me, magic right now is the least important. Initially, when I started the first time I stepped on stage was in school, and I was supposed to do a 3.5 minute show. I ended up doing a 10-minute show because the first 7 minutes I was shaking. I was scared. I had no clue what to do. because I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk on stage. I was really scared that I opened my mouth and no words came out. So I went home, I stood in front of a mirror, I started practicing talking. That is far more important than the tricks that I'm doing, because with talking you can connect with people. Tricks will only take you so far. But talking is what is important. I started doing impressions. If you've seen the Batman movies by Christopher Nolan, the guy who played Alfred, Michael Caine, I started doing an impression of him, which was, I stitched you up, I mended your parents, but I weren't terrible. I were the nationalities of the Wayne family. I started doing all those impressions. I started impersonating a bunch of people, just to be able to talk better. So that was far more important. Stage movements. Every single thing in my show is scripted. When I go back, when I come in the front, I know what people are going to respond before they actually responded, because I've done the show so many times. So that is far more important. The theatricality of it is far more important. Me building you up with a story is far more important than the trick. Anybody can come and say, oh, name a card, name a number, and the thought of card, and the thought of number. But what makes that trick great is the story of the fallen hero who couldn't get his first crush and was bullied by a boy. And all of that culminating in the 13th card being the King of Clubs is far more important than just the 13th card being the King of Clubs. So, yeah.
The arts of magic and illusion are suffering a slow death due to the world rushing towards their professional growth. How do you think we can break these shackles and promote these beautiful arts so that they remain forever alive?
I don't think they'll ever die. I think it's a false idea that magic or any art form for that matter is dying a slow death. If anything, it's on the rise. Now more than ever, especially in India, more and more people are choosing not to take a cliched job. They're choosing to do an art form. They're choosing to do something outside of the walls that they've grown up in. I think it'll never ever die, because without art there is no life. Without art there is no world. Any great thing in the world that has happened because of art, for one reason or the other. So I don't think it'll ever die. But if anybody does think they're dying, it's down to the parents. It's down to all of you. It's down to having communication amongst people. Like, for example, my parents, if they were against it, I will sit them down, I will talk to them, I will tell them the importance of it. Same thing for parents. They should sit their children down and introduce them to an art form. Because that's the only way the world will change. That's the only way the world will develop. Art can never die. You can't kill art. It's impossible.
So being a magician, you just mentioned that you wouldn't follow a cliche method of impressing someone that you have a liking for, like such as magic. So how did you impress your girlfriend?
The one that I have right now?
Yes, sir.
So she's the...
Or so anyone?
No, it's the relationship that I'm in now. She is the only person in the last several years, if I've been a date on with, she's the only person who on the first date didn't ask me to do a trick. She's the only person who said, she didn't say do a trick for me. We just spoke. We spoke about things that mattered to us. We spoke till the lights went off for weeks on end in restaurants and coffee shops across Delhi. And I think, yeah, to impress her, I think we just spoke, we connected on a level which was far beyond than just silly magic tricks. Both of us had certain art forms. She sings beautifully. She's a fantastic fashion designer. She makes beautiful products, all handcrafted. So both of us had that connection, and we spoke about all those things as opposed to, oh, do a trick for me and all of that. So the impression or the connection that both of us developed was through our common interests. And I think that'll happen for anybody. You can't impress someone by doing a trick for them or playing the song for them. That'll be momentary impression. It won't be long lasting.
In India, where do you see the growth of magic as an art in next, say, 10 to 15 years?
So I'm not somebody who ever sets goals. I'm the worst mentor to have. If somebody asks me what's your goal 5 years down the line, I will say don't set goals. Setting goals is the worst way to live your life. And I know that's against anything that anyone's ever believed in. So I think 10, 15 years from now, I don't have a goal. But I know for a fact that magic is on the rise. Because 10 years ago, nobody went for comedy shows. Nobody. If somebody who's a really famous comedian today is sitting on this chair and you would ask them this question 10 years ago, they would still say that comedy is on the rise. because where comedy is today in India, 25 years ago it was in Britain. So we're already 25 years behind, but it is there now. It's the only way is up. And because of comedy and because of that, a lot of people are going for other art forms. And I'm just hiding behind, waiting for people to come for magic and mentalism, mind reading. And the only way is up. There's so many young kids who are doing it. There's so many people who are doing all of this. So I think it's the only way is up. There's no other way it's going to go.
So you mentioned in one of your interviews that apart from the entertainment, you guess you like the idea of fooling people older than you. So sir, taking cue from your statement and considering that conmen aren't that different. So sir, do you think that conmen have the potential of being good magicians?
Okay, there are two parts to your question. The first part, that I like the idea of fooling somebody older than me, that was said by a naive, young, stupid boy. That's an interview from when I think I was 18 or 19 years old. I don't believe in that anymore. That was a naive, young teenager who thought that it's very cool to fool somebody older than you. Over the years, I've realized that it's not about fooling anybody, it's about entertaining them. So that is far more important. I don't care if people are fooled or not. I care if they're entertained or not. So that part doesn't hold true anymore. I've changed over the last 7-8 years for the good, I think. But the other part was, are con men making good magicians? Is that your question?
They have the potential. Do they have the potential?
Do they have the potential? I think yes. The most basic of tricks arise from con men. There's a very famous trick in the streets of New York called the 3-card Monte, where there are 3 cards kept on the table. 2 of them are same and 1 of them is different. And you have to bet money on where the different card ends up. So that is a con game, but at the core of it, it has a sleight of hand or a half piece of eye move at it, which is what magicians are doing. So con men are the best magicians there is, and magicians are the best con men there are. So I think they have a lot of potential, but I think it's not about fooling. If you're doing it for that, if you're doing it to tell people that you have psychic powers or telling them to steal their money in one way or the other, I think that's a horrible thing to do. But yeah, they have the potential to be great magicians if they focus on the entertainment and not the fooling part.
So moving on, we will now have a rapid fire round and we will throw questions at you which will test your wit.
Okay.
So Karan Singh as an ardent foodie or an honest gym goer?
Ardent foodie, and I haven't been to the gym in 7 years. Not even 10 years in fact, so ardent foodie anyway.
So instigator of street magic or nation's leading psychological illusionist?
Nation's leading psychological illusionist.
So a devoted hard worker or a passionate lover?
Passionate lover.
Rejection or failure?
Rejection. No, failure. Oh, failure.
So are you a dog lover or a video game enthusiast?
I'm actually both. I have a dog who I feel really sad about right now because she's got arthritis. She's 12 years old. She was diagnosed the day before. So I'm really heartbroken that I'm here right now and not with her. As happy as I am, but yeah.
So do you prefer Delhi or Mumbai?
I was born in Mumbai. I live in Delhi. But over the years, I started liking Delhi more solely because of the food. No other reason.
That was quite an interesting round, sir. We shall now see how well you perform in this round. You will have to tell us that one word which comes to your mind when we say the following. Hypnosis.
Karan Singh.
Anand Rao. Chicken.
Love.
Amir Khan.
Mentor.
Haskas Village.
Bad memories.
Your grandfather.
The only person, as a phrase as opposed to a word, the only person who's never seen me perform and the only person who's responsible for me being who I am, because he died before I ever got a show. So yeah, that's the only thing that comes into my mind.
So moving on, so secrets of an alternative life. Your upcoming major... Alternate life. Yeah. So your upcoming major tour. So what hint can you give us about it, and can we expect to see you back in Allahabad?
So Secrets of an Alternate Life is on the 15th, it's debuting on the 15th of December in Delhi. It's the biggest show of my life. I am shitting my pants because of it. The story of it starts in the year 1938. It starts in World War II and ends in 2018. And it talks about somebody telling me that they saw me in World War II. The actual me, Karan Singh, was in World War II. So it talks about that, it talks about me right now, and it talks about finding myself through a series of secrets that I'm telling the world about myself. Secrets, deep, dark secrets that I've held with myself for the last 80 years, so to say, that was 1938 to 2018. It talks about that. And somewhere during the show, those secrets turn from me telling them secrets to me finding out secrets from them. And as for coming to Allahabad again, keep calling me, keep getting fantastic audience like you did right now, and I would love to come back.
Sure, sir. We'll hold you to that, sir.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we end this interview, what advice would you like to give to the budding magicians of today that they should keep in mind at this nascent stage of building their careers?
Same thing I said there. काम करो तो ऐसा करो कि काम को खुशी होगा तुमने उसे किया. If you do something, do it so well that the work is happy that you did it. Keep at it. Don't feel sad because you're not getting shows. Don't feel bad if a trick fails. Don't feel bad if your hands shake. It's happened to everybody. But keep loving it and you'll do fantastic things.
On behalf of entire gnoTalks team, we would like to thank you for giving us an insight into the world of magic and illusion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you want me to do something for you before we stop filming?
Sure, sir.
Sure,
If
sir.
you could perform a trick for our audience as well.
Exactly,
Oh,
sir.
cool. I'll start with you, then I'll move on to the audience. Can I ask? Let's try this. I want you to imagine that I have a shopping list with me, just here, and there are a bunch of items, and you pick one of those items. Yeah. So you know what you picked? Just yes or no?
Yes.
So in your head, whatever this is, start repeating it to yourself. Whatever this item is, keep saying it to yourself again and again and again. Are you right hand or left hand?
I'm a left hand.
Hold your left hand out straight. In fact, you know what? Put it flat on my palm. Keep thinking of what this is, and keep saying this to yourself again and again. Keep shouting whatever this is in your mind again and again. It's a food item, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Probably junk food. Keep saying this to yourself again and again and again, like pizza, pizza, pizza. Pizza, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm going to do something with the audience as well.
Sure, sir.
We would love it, sir, if you would perform for our audience.
Okay, so I'll try this. On my phone, I did this. How many of you have seen my videos? Bunch of you? Okay, so how many of you have seen my video with Ritik? 3, 4 of you. So what I'm going to do is the exact same thing that I did with Ritik, but with all of you at large. So I want all of you to think of a number between 1 and 10. All of you do that now. And I will tell you right now that on my phone I have a picture. Before I got here, I took a piece of paper, I wrote down a 4-digit number, and all of you are going to tell me what that number is. And you're going to do that one at a time. I'll start with you. What number are you thinking? Sorry? 3. What about you, ma'am? 7. What about you? 6. Okay, and I need one more. Were you also going to say it? See how that works. See how people end up thinking of similar things. So one more time. So the second one was you, right? So yours was 7. Okay. Hope this works. 6. 4. I want to show you the picture that I have on my phone. If this works. I did. So the number was 3, 7, 6, 4. I showed the camera first. So you show the rest.
Oh
my God.
So what has been your best moment in gnoTalks?
So basically, gnoTalks has been fantastic for me. It's my first time in Allahabad. So thank you so much for inviting me. It's so fantastically organized. For a college show, I think most college shows are really badly organized, but this was fantastically done. My favorite moment was in the end when I got that standing ovation from the faculty and the students. So thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait to be back.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.